Way before we had logic, long before we even had grammar, the universe was already speaking its own language. And it wasn't a language of words. Nope. It was a language of patterns. And in this explainer, we're going to try and decode some of those patterns and figure out what they might be telling us. All right, so let's kick things off with a feeling. A feeling I'm pretty sure you've had before. You know that strange sense that some things are just, well, a little too perfect to just be random chance? Yeah, I'm talking about those exact moments. The ones that just make you stop in your tracks and go, whoa, seriously? What are the odds of that? They feel different, right? Significant. Almost like a little glitch in the matrix of your everyday life. And here are some classic examples, right? You're thinking about an old friend you haven't talked to in ages, and boom, your phone rings and it's them. Or you're totally stuck on a problem and you overhear a stranger's conversation that gives you the exact answer you needed. These aren't just quirky little stories we tell, they're universal. This stuff happens to all of us. So, this gets us to the big question we're tackling today. What if these moments aren't accidents at all? What if they're actually messages, whispers, from a much deeper, interconnected reality that's trying to get our attention? Okay, so this is all a really cool idea, but how do we take it from just a gut feeling and turn it into something a bit more concrete? Well, it turns out a very famous thinker was way ahead of us on this one. And that thinker was the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung. He actually gave a name to this phenomenon, synchronicity. He was absolutely fascinated by these moments, events that had no logical cause and effect link, but were connected by something else entirely, pure meaning. And this is the key part to get. For Jung, synchronicity was basically like the universe holding up a mirror to your inner world. That powerful thought you're having, that deep question you're wrestling with, all of a sudden, it's reflected right back at you by an event in the outside world. And if you really think about it, that's a pretty wild idea, isn't it? I mean, it completely challenges this old notion that our minds are just locked up inside our skulls, separate from everything else. Instead, it suggests that our consciousness and the physical world, they aren't separate at all. They're deeply, fundamentally connected. Okay, now I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds a little mystical, a little out there. But here's where things get really interesting. Modern physics, of all things, has actually stumbled upon some ideas that sound strangely similar, building this totally unexpected bridge between the mind and, well, matter itself. So let's break this down. The world we normally experience runs on cause and effect, right? You push a domino, the next one falls. Simple. But synchronicity, that plays by a completely different set of rules. There's no physical cause. The connection isn't linear, it's symbolic. It's linked only by the meaning it has for you. And this brings us to something called quantum entanglement. Honestly, it's one of the weirdest and most proven things in all of physics. It's so strange that Einstein himself called it spooky action at a distance. And what it suggests is that on some fundamental level, the idea of separation might just be an illusion. So get this, you take two particles that are linked or entangled, and you separate them. Even if they're on opposite sides of the universe, whatever you do to one, the other one feels it. And not at the speed of light, we're talking instantly. It's like they're still part of the same thing, completely ignoring the space between them. It really points to this fundamental oneness baked into the very fabric of reality. So, if tiny little particles can be connected like that across vast distances, what about us? What about our minds? This is what opens the door to this incredible idea of a collective consciousness, this single, unified field where maybe, just maybe, we're all nodes in one giant network. And in that network, our thoughts could actually create ripples. All right, this all leads to the most important question of all, really. Where do you fit into this picture? Are we just passive observers, just along for the ride? Or are we actually involved in making these incredible moments happen? I mean, for most of human history, we've kind of seen reality as something that just happens to us. Like we're sitting in a movie theater just watching the show unfold. But quantum mechanics throws a huge wrench in that idea, suggesting something way more radical. It's called the observer effect. And here's the gist. On a quantum level, before a particle is actually looked at or measured, it doesn't really exist as a single thing. It's more like a wave, a cloud of pure possibilities. But the moment an observer looks at it, bam, that wave collapses into one single definite reality. It's as if our very act of paying attention shapes what's real. Okay, so let's connect this back to synchronicity. Could it be that your intense focus on a problem, your deep, unspoken need for an answer, could that act as the observer? Could your attention be the very thing that collapses all the infinite possibilities of the universe down into that one single, perfect coincidence that you needed to see? This is the big, mind-blowing takeaway. You are not just watching the movie. You're not a passive spectator. Your attention, your consciousness, your focus, it's an active ingredient. It's part of the engine that creates reality. You are, in a very real sense, a co-creator. So, okay, that's a huge idea to wrap your head around. But what do we do with it? How do we take this amazing concept and actually apply it to our lives? What's the move when the universe decides to whisper in your ear? When you boil it all down, that's what synchronicity really is. It's a moment of perfect, beautiful alignment. It's when your inner world, your thoughts, your feelings, your needs, suddenly lines up perfectly with the outer world. It's like a cosmic yes, a sign that you are absolutely on the right path. So, from now on, when one of these meaningful coincidences pops up in your life, don't just smile and brush it off as a weird fluke. Treat it like a message, because it probably is. Just stop, take a breath, pause, think about what was going through your head right at that moment, and just listen. Listen to what the pattern might be telling you. Because at the end of the day, that's the real question these moments are asking, isn't it? They're little signposts, little confirmations from the universe, a cosmic wink, just for you. So in that magical moment of alignment, what is the universe trying to tell you about your path?